Swami had put all this drama together to bring Father Charles down to Puttaparthi, and a flight being delayed, a whole bunch of people being delayed so that they can receive Swami's love.
Well, you actually tell this story better than your husband.
I agree.
Well, I think that Baba has planned this right from the beginning, from many, many years ago.
So I called Kaka and I said, Kaka, please ask Swami to do a miracle. Please ask Swami to do a miracle and get him food. Get him a good, sumptuous meal. You know, so before I could even finish, saying, 1 minute, you have to listen to what Swami says. And he said, Swami has said he is my son and he will never go hungry.
Ah.
And I had tears in my eyes and I came and told Gayatri and I said, this is what Swami had to say. You know, and she's like, oh, I'm not the puppet master, I'm just the puppet. You know, the master is Swami.
And now, here it is, December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2012, and you've just been used as a Sai instrument and as an instrument of Jesus.
I don't know if I've been used, but I've been blessed.
Sai Ram, Sai Ram. Thank you.
What is the possible connection between the music and the man, holy man Sri Satya Sai Baba? One of Sai Baba's most fervent and creative devotees is Bollywood film and singing star Kunal Ganjawala. And this is his story about what he did at Christmas time in 2012 to get Catholic priest Father Charles Ogada from Nigeria to Sai Baba's ashram in India. Kunal Ganjawala's internationally acclaimed voice excels not just in the pop musical world, but also in the spiritual world. Ganjawala singing In the Divine Presence, a most impressive performance before Sai Baba. And accompanying Kunal in his Christmas time feat with Charles Ogada, and performing side by side with him in the Divine Presence, Ganjawala's wife, a profound artist, a star, and strong devotee of her own, Gayatri Ganjawala. Both of these spiritual songs will be performed in their entirety at the end of this video, but now the incredible story of a faithful devotee's efforts of getting a Catholic priest devotee from Nigeria to Sai Baba's ashram for Christmas time, against all odds.
Kunal, here it is, the day before Christmas, the year 2012, and Father Charles Ogada was not going to come here. He could not come here. He wasn't able to come here. There was a zillion reasons why he couldn't come here. And now he's here. And he's here largely become of a series of events, some might even call them miraculous events, that unfolded right before Father Charles' eyes and your eyes, since you seem to be the puppet master pulling some strings. So why don't you just begin at the beginning several days ago when you and I met and tell us what happened? Because this by itself is a very, very interesting story.
That's right. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
And just a little correction, I'm not the puppet master, I'm just the puppet. You know, the master is Swami, and yeah, you know, we met on the 18th outside the foreign canteen, and I eventually saw you because everybody I asked, because you know, I said this to you, I said it to Father when I met him, that there were just a couple of reasons why I'd come here. One is to meet Swami, parallelly to spend Christmas, because I'd never done Christmas in Puttaparthi. I'd one in Vrindavan. Then was to meet Isaac and meet Father Ogada. These were the three reasons why I was here. And I knew Isaac was coming on the 19th, because he had informed us. I had met my Lord, I had met Swami. But the only third important link of not seeing Father Charles, and I was only meeting Westerners and asking them, hi, any news on Father Ogada? Because I presumed that he'd be here, because I'd seen your clipping which you'd put last year where he'd sung Mass with Satya Sai Mass, right?
Yeah.
And the little clipping, very little, it was like maybe a second or two. And that just had woken me up. And thanks to Souljourns and thanks to what you've been doing with your wife, that I've heard such beautiful stuff. And more than experiences, they're just, these are channels, which Swami chooses. And we've been very kind to bring them to the world. And that's when I laid my eyes, or rather Swami made me lay my eyes on Father Charles Ogada. And ever since that moment, which was, I think, a little over 2 years ago, and that's it. I could see him completely bathed in Swami. Those eyes, Swami, Father Charles's eyes. His vacha is speech in Sanskrit. That was Swami talking. His entire demeanor, and that was Shakti. I could see the male and the female aspect talking at different times, and so then I met you, and there you were, and then I asked you, and I said, and I didn't know about the post on Souljourns saying that Father Charles Ogada is not going to be here. I was not aware. And then you said, well, unfortunately, he's not going to be here. It's the first time in 10 years, you said, but Father Charles is not going to be here, and my heart sank. And I spoke to the Swami within me, and I said, oh no, he has to be here. Because I was certain, because the same Swami who I was complaining to right now within me, the same Swami had assured me that he's going to be here. And then there was one line that you said which really kind of got this whole thing going, which is, well, he's not going to be here, it's the first time in 10 years, but there's still time. He could be here, you never know. And that's it. I went sad and happy back to my room, and I spoke to my wife Gayatri, and I said, oh, now I know for sure he's not coming, but he's back home. And maybe I'd learned from a couple of other people before meeting you that maybe there was some problem with the visa. And for some reason, I'm not like that, I'm not pompous or proud about anything, but I said, I know my uncle whose sister-in-law is in the High Commission. So if there's a visa issue, it's not a problem. And this was Swami putting confidence, through in my words. And so I said, Gayatri, and he told me a couple of other things also, that the church had, no paychecks.
Yeah.
And so it was very tough for Father to actually buy himself a ticket at this point, and the visa and all the other costs
It
involved.
was the three big obstacles. There was no money, no tickets, and no visa.
Exactly.
What to do?
Exactly. And I didn't need to say anything to Gayatri. When I mentioned these three things that were which were not possible, she just looked at me, and we didn't say anything. And we both just snapped our fingers and said, okay, Swami, you're putting these thoughts in our mind, you make this happen. And the moment we surrendered to Swami, it all started happening. Boom, 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 boom. We called the travel agent.
You didn't have any time left.
It was 18th night. And we didn't think, because this is probably the first time consciously that we realized what surrender is. We've done it in smaller capacities, but never seen it unfold in this grand way, at this grandeur. And we called the travel agent, and then you put me on to Michael Rakoff, who said he'll give me numbers of someone else, a lady, who may have Father's numbers. And it was like, okay. And then what I did was, we all got excited, and then I said, well, but hold on. Gayatri and me almost simultaneously said, well, we need to know if Swami wishes that Father be here. And so at that point, we have a very dear family friend. I call him Kaka. Kaka in Hindi means uncle.
Okay.
And he's very blessed like a lot of other souls. We are all blessed, but maybe it's karma from another life. Swami talks to him whenever Swami wishes, and that could be 24/7, 365 days. And it's been happening for many years, maybe 25, 30 years. And so we called him and we said, Sai Ram, Baba, in a nutshell, we told him what was happening. And said, Swami, can you ask Swami whether we have permission to, invite Father Charles to be here? And before I could even finish, he said, Swami is nodding his head and says, yes, I want him to be here. And we were like, yes. So at that point, we were confirmed that it was not our monkey mind or our ego or any of that
You
sort.
had outside proof.
Yeah, we got full proof from the Father of this universe saying, and that's it. And then everything just fell in place. Tickets, boom, boom. Then I called my uncle and he said, okay, great, whatever. And I said, so he's saying, so what is the name of the, the person? I said, Father Charles Ogada. And so where is he? Is the ticket ready? I said, no. We don't even know whether there is a ticket available, but we know that you can get in the visa. And
the visa normally is a very difficult thing to do. I'm understanding that it might take upwards of 13, 14 days under normal circumstances.
Yeah.
You had a holiday weekend starting.
Christmas, yes.
So the office was about to close, as you told me before, the next day, which would have remained closed all through Christmas.
Yeah, till Monday.
And he didn't have 14 days to wait. You got it in, what, several hours?
No, Swami did. And what happened was, the moment I got in touch with Father the next morning, so I waited till about 11:30 that night. I met you at 8:30.
Yeah.
Till 11:30 I waited for Alayli's call because she was busy doing a rehearsal with the children of her orphanage. And I didn't hear from her, so I fell asleep. And at 4 o'clock, I woke up at 3:30 that morning for Nagar Sankirtan, and the message hadn't yet come. So I sent a message saying, hi, any news about Father Charles? His numbers?
You sent that at 3 o'clock?
I sent about 3:45.
3:45 in the morning.
I woke up, I went, used the bathroom, came back, brushed my teeth, and then sent that message. And then I was sitting for meditation, and I said, no, I must do this before that. And I sent that message, and promptly within the next 30 seconds, I get a message back, oh, you haven't received it? Oh, okay, 1 minute. And then another minute later, says, she sent it to me by mistake. Here's the numbers. Numbers! And I was like, okay, and an email ID. So there I was. It was about 4:15. I had a bath, and I was on my, it was in Nagar Sankirtan. And suddenly I was passing Swami's house from the Ganesh Mandir. And suddenly Swami put that thought in my mind saying, what are you doing Nagar Sankirtan for? Write that mail to Father Ogada.
You've got work to do.
You got work to do. and I was like, oh yeah, of course. And I was last in the gents' side, so the ladies were over. And suddenly I'm writing this long mail, and I didn't realize that there was another old man who was not doing Nagar Sankirtan but watching me. I was getting angry. Bless him. And by the time we finished Nagar Sankirtan, he was like Shiva's Naga, spitting venom on me, and like, what are you doing, you young boys? He was doing this very
Don't
heavy,
you know what
beautiful
this is
Indian
supposed to
accent.
be used for?
Yes, you're doing all this corporate work in Nagar Sankirtan time. What is very bad.
You're doing God's corporate work.
and I tried explaining to him just for a second, forgetting that, Swami will do all the work. And I said, you don't have an idea what I'm doing. I said doing, and I'm like, forget it. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then someone else came, and then he went on, and I was like, Swami, forgive me. Swami, forgive him. And then someone else came and said, let it be. Forgive him.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, why is he judging me? That's all I said, And then it was over and I forgot. And then how naive of me that at 6:30 in the morning I'm trying to call Father Charles Ogada, which is 5 hours behind.
Sure.
So it's 1 in the
Real
morning.
early, yeah.
And he's a priest, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be up
And he needs his
at those
sleep too.
tamasic hours.
Yeah.
He's going to be in bed by like 9 or 9:30. And then I kept trying foolishly till I reached my room after doing meditation at the tree and after doing the bhajans and arti and everything at about 11 o'clock India time, which is 6 a.m.
Okay.
in Nigeria. And Gayatri said, gosh, don't keep trying because there are these long intervals where nothing is happening. So the radiation is very heavy. She said, put it on speaker. And, if it rings, then put it on your ear.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I said, thank you, mother. And there, promptly, it got through for the first time. And that voice that I've been waiting to hear, which I've heard on Souljourns.
Father Charles.
And I'm going to do it.
Okay, you do it. You do it. I want to see you do Father Charles' voice.
And I love him. So, and hello. And I heard that voice, and it's so crazy. And I was just reconfirming, though I knew.
Well, before you go on, just parenthetically, to fast forward for 1 minute, then we'll come back.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to, after it was all said and done, and he had some other problems, but he was coming to Puttaparthi. You had to go to Bangalore to pick him up at the airport. And there's another little drama there.
Yeah.
But I said, just wait. You just wait for the very first sound of his voice.
Yes.
How it just showers you with grace and love.
And then I told you, but I've already heard it. You said, no, wait for him in person. And I said, yeah, I can't wait.
Hello?
And I've had, I'm a heart person. I don't have a head. And I've...
Mostly it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Most of us walk around as head persons and we don't have a heart.
Yeah, my mother knows that, and she loves that about me. And she'll often tell Dad, why can't you be like him? And I'm like, why? I love my dad.
Yeah.
I said, and he's a hard guy too, but he's highly intelligent and medical background. So obviously he needs to be satisfied, head and heart both. And I forgot what I was saying.
Well, here we were then. You got to talk to him on the phone, and you heard his wonderful voice.
I said, is that Father Charles Ogada? And he said, yes, in that gentle way. And I said, okay, Sai Ram, I'm calling from Puttaparthi. You don't know me. I'm Kunal Ganjawala. And that beautiful Sai, and that Sai Ram was a very hush-hush Sai Ram. Sai Ram. And I said, Father, I can't hear you. Can you not talk? I said, can I call you back in 5 minutes? And he said, yes, call me back in 5 minutes, I can't talk. Didn't realize what. Later when he came here, I realized that the children in his orphanage were sleeping, and that was the last day, and they didn't have school that day because it was vacation from the next day. And he wanted them to sleep till late.
And they were all sleeping.
Yeah. And then 5 minutes later I call, and boom, I hear his voice. And then I'm telling him all of this, and I just asked him, I said, Father, is there some visa problem? Why aren't you coming? And Father said, oh my God. And I said, because the visa problem is not a problem. It can be handled. I have a relative in the High Commission in India who'll talk to the High Commission, and we'll get you, you'll have a ticket, but can you come? And he said, oh, well, school closes tomorrow. And so I was anxiously waiting. And then he said, oh, I'd love to come. And I said, okay, I'm going to talk to you in some time, because I have to call the travel agent, we have to book tickets, I have to speak to my uncle, we just need to know whether you could come and you wanted to come. Okay, bye, boom. And then it was all happening, and Swami was just doing this lot of energy, and then Aleli wanted us, because I called up and thanked Aleli, and that morning, suddenly I met this other lovely Australian devotee who Swami had come back in his life.
Okay.
He'd known Swami when he was 7, he was 45 now, the one you interviewed.
Yes.
And even he had a connection to Father, because he said it's because of Father Charles, his interviews on Souljourns, that I had the desire to come back to Puttaparthi.
Richie Lubner.
Yes.
So you met him.
Yes, we met. He was right next to you that night.
That's right, yes.
And then that next morning, as I was trying Father Charles's numbers after bhajans at 9:30, 9:45, he came up to me and he said, did you get Father Charles's numbers? And suddenly Michael Rakoff comes and says, did you get the numbers? And I said, yeah, I've got the numbers, but I haven't got through. So to cut a long story short, we got tickets, and we weren't getting tickets for the entire leg from Lagos to. So there was no tickets on Emirates, no tickets on Etihad or Emirates. The only tickets we were getting were on Ethiopian.
Because they had availability.
Yeah, and only on the 21st.
Okay.
The full leg up till Delhi, and they were partners with Air India from Delhi to Bangalore. Nothing via Bombay, and so we asked, saying not even business, tickets. They said nothing. Business goes first, and so we tried hard, and then we got some legs for the 22nd, not the entire leg. 23rd we got 40%, 50% of the legs, but not the other. So we said, okay, we must ask Swami, and one more funny thing was that the visa message had reached for the visa, this was about 1 o'clock, around 11:30. Yeah, by 1 o'clock we had a confirmed ticket, but we had to issue it by 3. The time limit was only 2 hours. And so we were like, okay, what do? We were confused and we were tired and excited and all of that.
Sure.
And so suddenly we said, let's speak to my uncle who Swami uses as a medium.
Exactly.
And find out which ticket, because we're confused.
Ask Baba which ticket.
Yeah, and suddenly that ego where we were trying to do it suddenly came in. So suddenly we were on a crossroad again. So we said, what are we doing? Swami will tell us which date. Why are we confused? Let Swami decide, because let the confusion be Swami's. And suddenly we called Kaka and said, Swami, please tell Swami that this is the thing. We have a time limit. It's already 1:15, 1:20. We have to book this ticket. If we lose it, I don't mind if we issue the ticket and the visa doesn't come. It's all right. I think Swami says 21st, not 23rd, not 22nd.
21st.
21st. Book. So we said, boom, booked it. We still tried another airline so that there are not so many layovers, stopovers. Not layovers, though there was a layover.
Yeah, inadvertently.
And that's another story. And that was done. Gave my message to my uncle. And then called back Father. Father, thank you. You need to travel now. You need to pack your bags now.
Like this hour.
This hour. And Father's like, okay. And through his voice, I could see that big smile, which I'm used to seeing, in his interviews. And that, because for sure it was his deep desire to be here for Christmas and to be here. Because suddenly that big smile and that sigh and a little alarm bell, because there was responsibility to be finished, and all of that I could hear in his voice. And suddenly we were like, don't forget your passport, don't forget your papers, don't bother about anything else. How long is your journey? And we didn't expect the next answer. How long is the journey from your town to the airport?
In Lagos.
Because, how fast can you get to Lagos? He said, 10 hours by road.
10 hours.
We said, that's impossible. You have to do such a long journey. Is there a flight, Father? He said, yes. And he didn't tell us at that point that flights are only in the morning and early afternoon. It was impossible for him to get there after closing up all his responsibilities. So we said, Father, can you borrow some money, or do you have enough reserve to buy yourself a ticket from the airport in your town to Lagos? Because we can't afford you to travel overnight, because you have to submit your visa application tomorrow morning first thing. So Father was like, yeah, I could talk to a friend. Or Father, no, I remember Father saying that, no, I could talk to a friend about borrowing some money and doing things, but let me call him. I said, okay. So all that was happening, and I was calling my uncle and saying, look, boss, you have to get this done. So he said, how long is Father Charles wanting to be? I said, he's come 14 times before, so it shouldn't be a problem. He has been denied the visa a couple of times, because I knew the history from Souljourns.
Sure, exactly.
Right? And he'd been going through hell a couple of times, especially the time when Father lost his mother, when he was not getting his visa, when he was here and he was sent back. And the first time when he was coming, when Swami called him for the first time. So I knew that there was going to be, knowing Swami's ways, when it all happens at the end, which is his timing. It's not the wrong time, it's the right time, So I was like, you have to make, so he said, how long is he going to be staying here? I said, well, so, he needs to kind of, I said, I don't know. So I called him again. I said, Father, when do you need to be back? And I don't mean to ask that. How long do you need to stay? He said, well, I have to be back by the 5th. 6th first, he said. And then later on, after a couple of calls, it was the 5th. So I said, okay, great. I'll call you back.
You had to be back for the kids in the orphanage.
That's right. For the opening.
The opening.
And so I called my uncle and I said, yeah. And he said, I said, he's got to be back by the 5th, so it's hardly any days. It's about 12 days, 13 days. Anyway, a visa is not going to be a problem, but a short stay visa is going to be even easier. And I said, I hope you know what you're saying, buddy. Because, Swami is at work here in my heart. And then that was over, and then we were continuously calling him saying, don't bother with anything. We'll go and pick up whatever you need from the ashram. You just get here with a handbag, with your bags, and with what you're wearing, And he was laughing, and then he blessed us over the phone, and that's it. And all then I was only waiting for him to get the flight, and we said, please don't miss the flight. To Lagos, please. And then he was getting to the airport, and we called him 10 times after that again.
And wasn't it the case, I hate to interrupt you here, but I'm pretty sure you first told me that there were morning flights which wouldn't work because he had to be there in the morning, and he didn't think there were evening flights, but you found out.
No, I didn't find out. Father found out that when he knew, because obviously he lives there, so there's just morning and maybe early afternoon flights. No late evening or late afternoon, early evening flights at all. And that day, there was a 5:30 flight.
One opened up for him.
Oh, absolutely. You said it. And he was on that flight and he reached Lagos and the next morning, so we were waiting and my uncle called me at about 11 o'clock that night saying all the information has reached. My sister-in-law, who's the Indian High Commission in Delhi, has informed the Indian High Commission in Nigeria that Father Charles Ogada, with the entire name, passport number, needs to be given a short stay visa from this day to this day and it'll get done. And I didn't call my brother-in-law. He called saying it's all been done. And tomorrow morning when he goes there, the instructions will be there, he'll be issued a visa. You know, and I know, that that's not how it works in Swami's plan.
Not at all.
I suddenly hear from Father, just post around lunch, because that's morning in Nigeria, and then he tells us that obviously he didn't know, because from 1 year since he had come here, all the visa applications from being manual had become online.
I see. So online is how they were done now.
And he didn't know.
Sure.
And we didn't know. So when he came to the window, Father then told us over the phone that the guy at the window said that we don't take physical applications anymore. You need to go online and book an appointment. It means at least 24 hours before, 10 hours before, 12 hours before.
And he doesn't have that time.
And I forget what Father, I think there was some information, right? There was an information. So you went to the cyber cafe, when Father went to the cyber cafe across the street, I think, and wrote an application. And there was an instruction, Father, that from the High Commission that yours be accepted and you be given an appointment? No, sorry. And he got an appointment. And then when Father asked that, that there has been a word from the Indian High Commission in New Delhi that this visa be issued today, that guy said flatly no.
That never happens this way.
It's going to take a few days. Normal procedures, 2 days, if all is well, unless they need to make further inquiries. And they said Monday, I'm not sure which Monday, the coming Monday or the following one, right? Oh, there you go, because they were breaking for Christmas.
Yeah.
And Father called me up and said, Kunal, and there was a very sad, his heart was right there underneath, in Patal, as they say. And he said, they say that I will not get the visa today, but it's going to take at least two days. I think, I forget what the Father said. And I said, oh no, that can't be possible. I'll call you right back. Don't leave the embassy. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. Stay put. I called my uncle and he said, Bru-ru-ru-ru. So he said, that's not possible. Let me call you back. Boom. And suddenly 10-15 minutes he's not called back. So, and he's at work and he's general manager a government bank. So he's in Bombay, heading Bombay, in SIDBI, IDBI, Indian, whatever. And I'm like, hello, sorry, I'm disturbing you, but what the hell is happening? So he's like, no, my sister-in-law is in a very important meeting. She said, send me all the information back. I've sent the information. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, yeah, it is ridiculous. In my heart I'm saying, Swami's working and what is going on? Why impediments? Again, I tried making this about us doing it. And so the impediments kept building up. And, it's funny because, I've always thought I was surrendering when I was surrendering, but the effort was so hard. Surrender means let go, no matter what. I thought I knew it. And so anyways, I didn't hear from him for like 2 hours. And I was like, okay. I said, Swami, you know what? It's your idea. You want him here. I don't know, I want to meditate. I'm going to pray to you. I'm not going to ask you. Well, I used that line, which Jesus was written in the Bible. Thy will be done. I said, and that's it. And suddenly, all the tension of the visa not getting done, where the Father will be here, just disappeared. I felt very light. And I went there and I sat and I started doing Phyllis Crystal's meditation. And rightly so, I hear from my brother-in-law at some point. I missed a couple of calls, 3 calls. I was in bhajans. I missed 3 calls and it was him. And I was like, oh. So I went to the loo and said, hello. He's like, Arey, don't worry, yaar. Message is reached. Whatever. And I called Father. No, there was one more call in between and said that my brother-in-law is working. It's happening. And then suddenly he sends me the number of some Mr. Singh, who's a colonel in the army, who's been posted there, who's in charge of dispatch and who's in charge of giving the visas. He's the final authority. He's basically the High Commission there. And so I sent that name to him, Father, and I said, Father, are you, and quite a lot of time had passed, so I didn't assume that he'd still be at the embassy. And I asked Father, I said, sorry, I haven't heard from him, and you know, I forgot, and I didn't apologize to forget. I didn't forget to apologize, but there were so many important things. So I said, Father, are you around? Because I've just been given information you have to go and meet this guy. Your visa will be done today. You will get it at 4:30. You know. Father said, no, I've stayed around. I'm not in, but I'm around. But I'm like 5 minutes away or 10 minutes away. I said, please go and ask for this man. You know. So, and then I was waiting to hear from Father. And suddenly he called me, I think about an hour later. And he said, I think what he said was that, I'm going to get it at 4:30. Now, I called my uncle back and he said he'll get it at 4:30. Father called back and said, I've already got my passport. The visa's on it.
Wow.
And it was 2 o'clock or 2:15 Africa time.
So he was going to make it.
Yeah, he had the visa, he had the ticket. And the flight was the next day, because that was the 20th.
Yes.
You see? And we were like, oh, Swami, thank you. Whew. And then that little fear came in my heart that I hope Father doesn't miss any connection. Because that's the only way he'll not be here.
Yeah.
That's the only other delay. And I don't know why that thought came in. And I was living that thought. And they say energy follows thought. And that's exactly what happened. You know, next morning, so I had made travel arrangements and all of that, you know, which Swami had put in my head. So we had to cancel all of those. And I remember coming and telling, no, that was after he missed the flight. And so I came in. So Father said, only let Ted know. Ted and Carl know, and all the people necessary will know. So I came and told you, and you were like, yeah, whatever. And then that thought was festering, you know, it was growing. And
might he miss
I didn't even
flight
share it with
connection?
Gayatri because I didn't want her to start living that fear. And so the next morning, I think we spoke once in the night, and the next morning I was at Bhajans and all ready to go and receive, you know, 21st, go and receive Father, and couldn't wait. And I was thanking Swami for all that, and there were some personal problems happening at the same time, you know, with Gayatri and me, not within us, but external forces working, and they were kind of taking away our little peace and harmony, which we've exactly come here for. And suddenly, I see an African number flashing, not Father Charles's, but some other number, and it's like, hello? And I'm in the loo. So I have the phone, it's in my pocket.
In the bathroom?
Yeah, I was not in the ashram. I was in the ashram. I was trying to use just that moment I came out, I was in the bathroom, and suddenly the phone rings, and I'm seeing an African number, and I'm like, hello? Sai Ram, it's Father Charles. I said, Sai Ram. I said, I missed the connection.
Oh no!
So in all that, I'm saying, Father, sorry, come again? And I'm living that fear. I said, did you miss the connection, or did all the passengers connecting to Addis, to Delhi missed? And then there was a little disturbance, so I thought Father said the entire flight, because may have taken off on late or whatever. And I'm like, oh. But funnily, you know, Swami didn't let me think about how the ticket will be rerouted, how Air India, because it was a through ticket. And the funny part was Swami was hell-bent that we book a through ticket with a code share. Though we wanted him to come to Bombay and fly Indigo, because Air India I don't trust.
Yeah.
But no, he didn't give us any other tickets. He made us give a code share so that if, in case of any problems, of any because it's a code share, they would adjust him.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And then he missed the connection, and then I tried calling him back because I was trying to, and you know, there was Aarti, and so I was like, I tried attending the Aarti after I finished getting out of the loo, and then called back. And by the time I called back, whoever phone Father was using, that gentleman said, well, there was a lady, and that lady said, no, I don't see that gentleman here. He was here, and he's gone. And I'm like, oh God. But I did remember asking Father. I said, Father, has the airline given you a hotel ACO because it's 24 hours? And Father said, no.
They didn't.
We've not been given any hotel accommodation. And I was like, how could that be? And this is all while I was in the loo. I said, how could that be? Okay. And then I realized that Father was calling from a number. I said, let me call you back. And then I forgot for about 10 minutes that the Aarti finished. and then all of that, and then after that, what happened? And Gayatri said, Kunal, when I went to the room, there has to be a reason why Father has been made to miss this flight.
Yeah.
And only Swami knows.
And that later became
and
apparent
that
to
you
you.
can, you'll speak to Father and you'll know what that part of the thing was. And then,
So here he is in Ethiopia.
and that wasn't the
for
only delay.
24 hours.
And that wasn't the only delay. The flight got delayed again in Delhi.
Before we get to the Delhi delay, what was the reason why you think he was delayed there in Ethiopia?
I think I'm not enlightened enough. I still am not. But Gayatri, being a woman, has that sixth sense and is definitely a higher being than me. And she said there has to be a reason. And one more thing happened, which is worth noting. When we had given vegetarian meals as a preference, though we couldn't give them seat preference, because I was to ask Father, but all this halabala, we forgot to ask him which seat he prefers, whether seat or aisle or center. But we had said vegetarian, and these guys had messed up. The travel agents had kind of forgotten or put it in some legs. And so when Father called, when he sat in Lagos, before he was flying off to Addis Ababa, he said, Sai Ram, Kunal, just that there is no vegetarian meal. And I'm like, how could that be? We've told them. I said, don't worry, they can, and Gayatri from behind is saying, ask them to get you a meal from business class, a vegetarian meal, or a crew meal, come on. The crew can eat some non-veg meal, but there aren't enough veg meals. And then he had to cut his phone. As in, he was about to take off, and then I tried about 15 minutes later, I just couldn't get through. And then I prayed to Swami, I said, Swami, please, he's traveled, he's done so much in a hurry, he barely has his bearings together, he's living out of a handbag. I said, don't do this, Swami. I said, get him food. And then suddenly, Swami, my higher self said, asked me to call Palika, again, Kaka. So I called Kaka and I said, Kaka, please ask Swami to do a miracle. Please ask Swami to do a miracle and get him food. Get him a good, sumptuous meal. So before I could even finish, he says, 1 minute. You have to listen to what Swami says. I said, yes. I said, it was dinner time around FC. So I moved and I came to R1 in between Isaac's house. And he said, Swami has said, he is my son. And he will never go hungry.
Ah.
And I had tears in my eyes, and I came and told Gayatri, and I said, this is what Swami had to say. And she's like, oh. And that's it, again goosebumps. And I was like, okay, now let's go and fill our stomachs. So we, had a meal, and, we prayed grace and, the same thing that Swami's given in Sanskrit. And he said, Swami, we are eating, and may he get the nutrition for his soul and his body. And we'll eat a little more today, so that you can take a little bit out of this and feed Son Charles, And then I really slept well. And then we met you again, coming from Mr. Bailey's house. And the next day, I didn't call Air India, and I assumed that everything will be fine. And and then again, Father tried calling me from Delhi just to say that he had landed and all was well. And I again missed his call because I was listening to a talk in the double-decker building.
Okay.
And also, it's a number that I didn't know, so I didn't want to pick up. And it was a Delhi number. So I was like, oh, okay. So I got my manager to call. And then some gentleman said, एक अफ्रीकन आदमी था और वो फ़ोन कर रहा था. उसने रिक्वेस्ट किया फ़ोन करने के लिए. African. So I'm like, oh no. I said, I should have picked up that call. What am I doing? He's been on the airport for 24 hours. Damn. God damn it. And I was just, kind of slapping myself. Saying, anyways, okay. And I tried very hard. I called him 3 times. I said, have you seen him again? Have you seen him again? He says, no, he's gone towards his flight. So I assumed the flight was on time. I went to, we were in Bangalore. The moment we reached Bangalore airport is when Father had taken off from Delhi. That's Air India for you. Never travel Air India. And
so the connection there somehow got messed up too, and it's a couple hours late.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe the fog.
When you're at Bangalore, ready to pick him up, you find out that he's just boarded the flight from Delhi.
Just flown off. Yeah, just flown off.
So then he finally arrives in the Bangalore.
And I obviously knew he'd be traveling in regular clothes, and I've not seen him any other way but in the garb of a priest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, when am I going to see him? And Gayatri's seen him, but in a still, because she's saved all these 4 videos for a day when she's really low on hope so that she can see it. You know, she saved it, she's not yet seen it. My mother-in-law's seen it, my mother's seen it, my dad's seen it, my brother's seen it, I've seen it, and I've seen them a lot of times. And there he was. Oh, beautiful. You know, I could see Swami walking behind him, above him, front of him. And gosh, he looked good with those jeans, with those lovely trousers and white shoes and white trousers and I forget the shoes. And I said, there he is. And so Gayatri said, shh, we'll sneak up on him. We won't say hello. We go roundabout way. Let him look for us. And then I'll just go and say Sai Ram and not introduce ourselves. And that's exactly what she did.
Oh, that's
she went
nice.
behind and said Sai Ram. And I was like, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. And then I'm Gayatri. And then, you know, it was beautiful. She got the hug first. And I was so jealous she got the hug first. And then, you know, that beautiful moment of, you know, what Swami had made me yearn for a few years. And then it happened. And, you know, that energy which I could see coming out of, you know, that Swami energy, that Satya Sai Baba's energy coming out of his eyes, out of his mouth, around him, I felt when I hugged him, because I could feel for the first time in my life that my body wasn't hugging his body, that the Swami inside him was hugging the Swami inside me.
That's so beautifully expressed. Thank you for this richly detailed story. I have no doubt whatsoever that our friend Charles Ogada, Father Charles, is here for the express purpose of bringing the concept that you know of so well in this part of the world of Advaita, of non-duality, of oneness. There is only God. All else
completely.
is an illusion.
Absolutely.
Including our thoughts, including our brains, including our minds.
Absolutely.
And that's a new lesson for many people, especially in the Christian world. It's an old lesson, established 2,000 years ago, but in our trust, in our faith, in our church, we've forgotten it. It's real important for it to be reintroduced. So he's here in the land of non-duality, where Advaita is readily understood, to just be a walking emissary, a walking ambassador of what the lesson is that he's teaching to us who need it so badly because we're unfamiliar with it, and to you who already know it. But to see a walking example of Baba being modeled in his highest lessons, and Jesus modeling his highest lessons, is worth all the aggravation, money, work, fret, and detail that you went through.
Absolutely. Just one thing, since we're talking about Jesus, that uncle of mine, on 2009 Dashera day after Navratri, suddenly when he was we were all here, my entire family was here, and so was Mr. Palekar. His name is Prasanthi.
Okay.
He's as simple as you and me, you know, and Swami suddenly, from not an audio signal, but the voice that's from the soul, you know, which is intuition, which we say.
Absolutely.
So Swami suddenly asked Mr. Palekar, do you want to have darshan of Mahalakshmi? And Palekar ji said, Swami, it's always your will, whatever you want. And all of a sudden, within about a minute, you know, because we were all there in that darshan, and he said, just a minute before Swami actually came, Swami came in the red robe. It's uncanny that Swami walked in, because he'd normally come only on the convocation day and on 1st of Jan off lately, you know, because I've been only coming here for like 22 years. And I hadn't seen that red robe except on convocation day. And Swami comes on the wheelchair in a red robe. And actually, as he's passing Mr. Palekar, he gives an affirmation that, you know, that, yeah, okay, you've seen Mahalakshmi in this body. And this is only his right eye. His left eye, that entire afternoon, was seeing Jesus sitting in the same wheelchair in that red robe. So the right eye was seeing Sai Baba, and the left eye was seeing Jesus. And let me tell you at this point, this man has studied in a vernacular medium school. He has no connection with a convent school or Jesus. He knows Jesus as God's son. So for him to be imagining was impossible, because he knows that Jesus is the Son of God. But for him, it is Swami which is everything. So for not to show Zarathustra or Muhammad or any other Messiah, but to show Jesus was uncanny. And for 2 hours that Swami was there, he could only see Jesus till Swami left.
And now, here it is, December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2012, and you've just been used as a Sai instrument and as an instrument of Jesus.
I don't know if I've been used, but I've been blessed.
Sai Ram. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you very much for a heart-wrenching story.
Thank you.
Sai Ram. Gayatri,
Yeah.
this 10-minute story was told in 45 minutes by your husband, who didn't spare any detail.
No, I did spare some for her.
But I suspect there's something you would like to add about this series of leelas, these miracles, these profound instances of getting our beloved Father Charles Ogada to
Well, I don't know what details he spared.
Well, go ahead and tell us how it registered with you.
Well, to begin with, I think a few years ago, actually, Kunal saw Father Charles's video on Souljourns that you guys put up, and he was so affected by it. And I think that put a very deep desire in his heart to see Father Charles. And we came down this year for Christmas. We were to stay until Christmas, and he was hoping to see Father here, and was really disappointed to hear that Father wasn't coming. And he bumped into you at the foreign canteen, and you said Father wasn't able to come. And that suddenly set the whole ball rolling.
What I would like to hear from you specifically is how it registered on your heart that almost an impossible scenario Baba allowed to occur right down to Father Ogada standing beside us right now on Christmas Day in Prasanthi Nilayam. So how did that register with you when you come to think about what happened that all of this was enabled to happen for
Well,
us?
I think that Baba has planned this right from the beginning, from many, many years ago, down to the detail of Kunal's aunt actually being in a very high position at the Indian Foreign Services, because she has been in Kunal's family for very many years, and if Baba hadn't made her his aunt by marriage to one of his uncles, this wouldn't have happened.
So all the right components were put in
I
life?
think, he's sort of been planning this for very, very many years.
Maybe 50 lifetimes before Father Ogada and Kunal were born.
And Father actually missed his flight by 24 hours. I don't know if Kunal mentioned that to you. And when he missed his flight, Kunal was like, Gayatri, Father's missed his connecting flight and he's stuck in Addis Ababa. And I'm like, Kunal, there's probably a reason, maybe Father's required to help someone there. And there was an Ethiopian lady.
He didn't tell us that, so share that part of the story.
Oh, okay.
Obviously did.
So,
Swami, also just so that I didn't share what Swami told Palekarji about what the delay and about how if it was someone else, he would have gone away from there.
Right.
But he's a true devotee.
Okay, what happened was we had two options, whether to take a ticket on the 21st or the 23rd. Swami said, no, you take a ticket on the 21st through Kaka. And we took a ticket for the 21st, and he was connecting through Addis Ababa. He missed his flight. A whole bunch of people missed their flight. And Kunal said, oh my God, Father Charles has missed his flight, so now what? I said, Kunal, there's probably a very good reason he's missed his flight and is delayed by 24 hours. And it so happened that there was a lady from Angola and her child who were very much in need of Father Charles's healing.
Were they sick? Was the child sick? Or?
The child was sick and the lady was emotionally in great trauma.
Okay.
And Father spent the entire time in the airport, the 24 hours, giving her healing. And the funny thing is, she was Portuguese and Father doesn't speak Portuguese. He didn't understand a word she said. She didn't understand a word he said. However, what Father told me when we were driving back from the airport was that he gave her heart-to-heart connection. And she was weeping and laughing and weeping and laughing. And he actually had a paper where he drew symbols of a smiley face and a crying face and canceled the crying face and ticked the smiley face.
I communicated with stick figures.
Yeah. And at the end of it, he helped them board the flight, and he had the baby on his chest throughout the flight to India. And at the end of it, by the time they got to India, she was beaming and she was feeling so much better and she was feeling really well.
Oh, that's a great story.
So I'm thinking, and we were talking about that, about how little they know how much Swami loves them. Because Swami had put all this drama together to bring Father Charles down to Puttaparthi. And to think that the two of them don't really know how much Swami loves them because they haven't seen all this background drama that's gone. And a flight being delayed, a whole bunch of people being delayed so that they can receive Swami's love.
Well, you actually tell this story better than your husband.
I agree.
Thank you so much. This is beautiful. I'll definitely add this.
Well, there's one more thing, actually. When all this was happening, Kunal called Kaka and said, Kaka, why does Swami put people he loves through so much difficulty? And Swami said, you know, he's my son and I love him and he's so devoted to me. He will do everything in his capacity to come here. Anyone who's not devoted to me wouldn't go through so much, would have gone right back.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
just increasingly beautiful stories. It's like the nectar gets sweeter with
Yeah.
each passing century.
Yeah.
Dear Bhagwan, I would like to sing a Tulsidas bhajan called Thumak Chalat Ramchandra. Bhagwan, every time I sing this bhajan or hear this bhajan, there is only one thought in my mind. A deep yearning to see you, Swami, moving freely amongst us, your bhaktas, like you used to in the past. Ever since I have become aware of your presence in my life, Swami, I have yearned for this, as I have only seen you moving freely amongst us, your bhaktas, in video footage available. I am sure all my brothers and sisters here wish for the same thing too. I offer this bhajan at your lotus feet, Swami. छबे बनिया ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र बाजत पैजनिया ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र ठुमक चलत रामचंद्र।
केशवा माधवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा केशवा माधवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या सारखा तूच देवा तुला कोणाचा नाही देवा तुझ्या सारखा तूच देवा तुला कोणाचा नाही देवा वेळोवेळी संकटातुनी वेळोवेळी संकटातुनी तारिशी मानवा केशवा माधवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा वेडा होन भक्तीसाठी गोप गड्यासह यमुना काठी वेडा होन भक्तीसाठी गोप गड्यासह यमुना काठी नंद घराच्या गाई हाकीशी नंद घराच्या गाई हाकीशी गोकुळी यादवा केशवा माधवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा धनुर्धर पार्थासाठी चक्र सुदर्शन घेऊन हाती वीर धनुर्धर पार्थासाठी चक्र सुदर्शन घेऊन हाती रथ हा कुनिया पांडवांचा रथ हा कुनिया पांडवांचा पळविशी कौरवा केशवा माधवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा केशवा माधवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा केशवा माधवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा
केशवा माधवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा तुझ्या नामात रे गोडवा